Ekam is a movement in consciousness founded by Sri Pritaji and Sri Krishnaji, spread across over 100 nations of the world. This spiritual movement has led millions to a direct experience of their personal divine and the manifestation of breathtaking miracles. Seekers throng to Ekam, the mystic powerhouse at the heart of Ekam movement, to awaken from illusion, ignorance, and suffering.
Now I have a lot of ease and peace toward myself, and I feel that I'm so complete, and I start love myself, and I start connect to the people around me, the nature around me, and I start realizing I'm able to flow with the flow of life.
It felt really liberating, like I finally got through what I was like, what was making me angry or sad at my parents. I finally got through it, and it feels really good.
As an entrepreneur, what I have been looking for, or what I look for all the time, is clarity. And what's amazing about Krishnaji is that when you listen to him and you talk to him, he's got a complete blueprint of what works and what does not work. And that's what I like about his programs, that they come from a place, a knowledge, a wisdom that does not come from books. It comes from a deep knowing.
Every human being has one primal wish that appears as numerous other desires. You want to be happy. But it is sad that you seek this happiness in the outside without ever ridding your own consciousness of suffering, ignorance, and separation. Most people are like hungry and thirsty children who are lost and abandoned in the middle of a desert. It is this fear and unhappiness within them that makes them hurt each other. But their desert-like life is the result of the kind with which they live and will disappear upon awakening. An unenlightened consciousness and unawakened consciousness is at the root of most problems. In an unawakened state, you continually engage in generating negative karmic actions and accumulate negative karmic balance. which result in obstacles such as relationship conflicts, breakdown of mental and physical health, or the perceived and actual economic insufficiency. It is also the collective unawakened consciousness that is at the root of most global problems of war, poverty, division, and environmental destruction. Your awakening is the only solution to stem the further birthing of problems and the dissolution of existing challenges. And the collective awakening for all. And it is our mission to awaken 74,000 people into Sampurna Jivan Muktas, or total liberated beings. For when 0.001% of human population is enlightened, the balance tilts in human consciousness towards compassion and oneness. This has been the mission of my parents, Shri Amma and Shri Bhagavan, and 5 generations of sages who have gone before them. And Shri Preeta ji and I intend to fulfill this sacred mission of great liberation of humanity in our own lifetimes. Scores of people around you are already stepping into this realm of enlightenment, and we invite you to join this magnificent movement in consciousness.
Has been more of a glimpse into what living truly is. It's like inhaling growth and awareness and exhaling all of the conditions and beliefs that I have held on to for so long.
I have struggled a lot trying to manage stress, trying to manage fear, trying to manage everything, the suffering. I was into depression for a long time. So trying to manage all that, I have spent a lot of time with no result. But then the speciality of this, they don't teach you to manage it. They teach you to be free of it.
Krishna ji and Preeta ji are not only founders, but they are spiritual leaders of today's time. I would say they are nothing less than sage of today's time. The thing I love about Ekam, when you come into that zone where the meditation space of Ekam is, you are in a different field of energy altogether. Experience it once and you will know it yourself. What is happening at Ekam? It is the future of spirituality.
Shri Preeta ji and Shri Krishna ji are spiritual leaders, mystics, and philosophers of our time. They have co-created Ekam, a mystic powerhouse located in the state of Andhra Pradesh, India. Shri Preeta ji and Shri Krishna ji have over 2,000 trained volunteers who lead their events all over the world. Millions of seekers are drawn to them in quest of greater purpose, peace, and awakening. World-renowned leaders come to Ekam to learn from them and to meditate in their presence. At a tender age of 11, Shri Krishna ji had his first experience of enlightenment and God realization. Ever since then, when people meditate with him, they experience a healing of long-held wounds, their anxiety dissolves, and they move into higher states of consciousness. Shri Preeta ji's presence spontaneously opens the hearts of seekers to love and compassion beyond measure. To listen and to learn from her is a blessing of several lifetimes. Shri Preeta ji and Shri Krishna ji run a huge charitable initiative, Oneness Changemakers. a foundation that offers free transformational education in schools and colleges in India and across the world. They support their daughter Loka in running her massive charity, Loka Foundation, which supports and improves the lives of people in 1,000 villages around Ekam.
The truth is one. The wise perceive it in many ways. Cosmic reality is one. Every perception of reality is wise. All perceptions of the one reality are wise. So why conflict at all? Ekam side vibrahay, bahuta vadanti. Ekam side vibrahay, bahuta vadanti. Ekam side vibrahay, bahuta vadanti. Ekam side vibrahay, bahuta
Namaste. Welcome to
Namaste.
the second day of Ekam World
Och
Peace
varmt
Festival.
välkomna till den andra dagen på
In a few
Världsfredsfestivalen.
moments from now,
Alldeles
you
strax
will listen to
ska vi
Shri
lyssna på
Krishnaji
Shri Krishnaji
speak on peace
när han
through healing
pratar om
division.
fred för att läka splittring.
We invite you to participate with your heart,
Vi bjuder in dig att
even
delta
as
med
you
ditt
listen
hjärta
to this peace message.
och lyssna på det här fredsmeddelandet.
You will heal the pain caused by
Du
division
kommer känna
within your
smärtan
family,
som orsakas
your
från splittring i din
organization,
familj
or
och
your
världen
community, and live with greater harmony.
och leva med en större harmoni.
Let us now welcome Shri Krishnaji.
Låt oss nu välkomna Shri Krishnaji.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to the fourth
Välkommen
annual
till
Ekam World
den
Peace Festival.
fjärde årliga Ekam Världsfredsfestivalen.
All of us have gathered here
Vi har
today
alla samlats här idag
to fulfill
för
our
att
greatest dharma
uppfylla vår
as
största
human
dharma,
beings, which is to further peace on
vilket
earth.
är att sprida vidare
And
freden
this
på
will
jorden.
benefit all
Det här
living beings.
kommer att ge fördelar åt alla levande.
One of the meanings of the word dharma
Ett utav betydelserna
is
för ordet
noble
dharma
responsibility.
är ett
Following your
nobelt
dharma
ansvar.
means
Att följa sin
following your
dharma
responsibility
betyder att följa det
beyond your limited
ansvaret
self-interest. Fulfilling
för att uppfylla sina självintressen
great well-being.
och skapa ett större
When we
välmående.
connect
Så när vi förbinder oss med Ekam
and meditate for
och
peace,
mediterar för fred,
Ekam
kommer
will
Ekam
amplify the peace
att
energy
förstärka
generated by our
fredsenergin
collective meditation.
som skapas genom den kollektiva
This
meditationen.
amplified energy
Dessa
then
förstärkningar
radiates back into our
kommer
families,
att skickas tillbaka in
workplaces,
i våra familjer,
communities,
på våra
and to
arbetsplatser,
all living beings.
på våra grupper och till alla
Today,
levande varelser.
the 20 million plus peace
Tillsammans kommer de
enthusiasts
20 miljoner plus
that are with us
deltagarna som är här idag
will hold a spiritual vision
att hålla en andlig
and
vision
meditate for ending
och
division in
meditera
our
för att få
world.
ett slut på
Before we
splittringen i
discuss the
världen.
path
Innan vi
to
diskuterar
a peaceful
vägen
world
till en fredlig värld
or finding a solution
eller hittar lösningar
to end all division
för att
born
få
of
slut på
discrimination,
all splittring som orsakas
let
av
us for a few
diskriminering.
moments
Låt oss först en stund
dwell on questions surrounding peace.
se på några frågor
What
som
is
rör
peace?
fred. Vad är
And
fred?
how does one find it?
Hur hittar man den?
Is it possible to manifest a
Är det
peaceful
möjligt
external world
att manifestera en fredlig extern
without
värld
attending
utan
to our own inner conflicts first?
se till våra egna inre
Can
konflikter?
conflicts be resolved
Kan konflikter
through
lösas
reasoning,
genom att resonera,
understanding the gains or losses
spel,
caused by
vinst och
peace
förlust
and conflict?
som orsakas
Can
av
transformation be achieved
kan transformation
through
uppnås
cultivation of virtue?
genom att kultivera
Peace
olika
is a state
dygder.
of being,
Fred är ett tillstånd
a
för
beautiful inner
varande.
state.
Ett vackert inre.
Transforming our state of
Att
being
transformera vårt tillstånd
is
för
the
vårt
only
varande
sure way
är den enda
to
säkra
sustainable
vägen
peace.
till en varaktig fred.
And in order to bring an end
Och för att få ett slut
to every form of
varje form
discrimination
av diskriminering
that millions upon
som
millions
miljoner och åter
have
miljoner
endured over the
har
millennia,
gått igenom under år,
and to rise above all forms of
för att
religious,
resa sig över alla
cultural,
former av religiös,
social,
kulturell,
national,
social eller
sex
nationell
and class-based division.
klass och
One
kulturbaserad
must first end
uppdelning, så måste
every
först
conceivable
få
form
ett
of
slut
discrimination
på
and
alla
thought.
sorters diskriminering.
Every form of division
Alla sorters
is
uppdelning
first created in
skapas
thought
först i tanken
before it has translated
före den har översatts
into speech
till
or
tal
action.
eller handling.
If we intend
Vi
to
vill
manifest a world free of division,
en värld fri från splittring.
we need to live
Behöver vi
with a
leva
consciousness
med ett medvetande
that is free of boundaries,
som är fritt från gränser,
right perception,
med rätt
emerging from an awakened
att
consciousness
stå ur ett uppvaknat
holds the
medvetande.
key
Det är det som är
to a
nyckeln
world free of
till en värld
discrimination.
fri från diskriminering.
With discrimination gone,
När din diskriminering är
division
borta,
no longer
då
exists.
existerar inte uppdelningen längre.
One of the opening verses from Rig Veda,
Utav de öppnande
an
verserna i
ancient
Vedan,
Indian text
en
says,
text från antiken i Indien,
Ekam Sat,
säger Ekam Sat.
Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti.
Och det
Meaning,
betyder
there is only one
det finns
truth,
bara en sanning.
and the wise call it by many
Visa
names.
kallar den för många saker.
A very wise observation.
Det är en väldigt vis observation.
Unification of the world,
En förening i världen,
global harmony,
global harmoni,
transcend division
att
and dissolve
överskrida
boundaries
uppdelning och lösa
are no
konflikter
new human
är
aspirations.
inga nya saker människan.
The pain of discrimination
Diskriminering
has been felt through the ages,
har varit känt
and the
genom
quest
tiderna
to transcend
och
has been an
frågan
ongoing
att
one.
överskrida den har varit
And for centuries,
och för
humanity has sought for a solution
anledningarna har mänskligheten sökt efter en lösning
in arriving at one common belief,
för att komma fram till en
one
gemensam
common
uppfattning,
ideology,
en
or
gemensam
one
ideologi
common religion
eller en
that
gemensam
can
religion
unite all
som
humanity.
kan förena hela mänskligheten.
Maybe
Och kanske
we should stop looking for that
ska vi
one
sluta
unifying belief
efter den enda
and perhaps even question the existence of any one such belief.
ställa oss
We are
frågan
Homo
om det
sapiens,
finns en sån sak.
literally meaning the wise ones.
Vi är
We have the most complex nervous system
Vi har de mest
of any
komplicerade
species known to us.
nervsystemen utav alla.
A brain capable
Vår hjärna är
of a wide
kapabel
variety of
att
perception
kunna ha en vid
and
uppfattning
an
på saker.
incredibly rich experience of living.
En otroligt rik upplevelse av
No
livet.
two human beings will perceive an object
Det finns aldrig två
exactly the
människor
same way.
som kommer se på en sak
Experience an object exactly the same
uppleva
way.
en sak på exakt sätt.
Hold an exact same view
Eller hålla
of
exakt
the
samma
experienced
syn
object.
på en upplevelse utav en sak.
No two human beings
Det finns inte två människor
have an identical experience of
en
living.
identisk upplevelse av livet.
Subjectivity and diversity
Subjektivitet och
is the nature of human
skillnaden
experience,
är mänskligheten på
and is
människan.
perhaps the
Är
result
signumet för
of the
mänsklighetens
extraordinary human
upplevelse.
design.
Och det kan vara det som är
I sincerely
av
doubt
den speciella mänskliga
if
designen.
we can ever chance upon
Jag skulle säga
any one
att de
common belief on which
kan
our humanity can
se
stay united.
en trosuppfattning som gör att mänskligheten blir
Is in realizing
så skulle jag säga att det är
the
inte
magnificence of diverse
det
perceptions.
här. Föreningen
If
ligger
we
i att
as a
se
collective
mångfalden i
can
diversitet.
comprehend the truth of this observation,
Och ifall vi kan förstå sanningen
then
i den här
there would
observationen,
be a radical shift
då skulle det ske ett
our
radikalt
thinking
skifte i vårt
and
tänkande
perception.
och vår uppfattning.
Humanity would then become
Mänskligheten skulle då bli
naturally tolerant
naturligt
to other
tolerant
views
mot andra synpunkter och former
and even develop
och även
a
utveckla
notable appreciation
en nobel
for different
uppfattning
views
åt
and
andra
forms
åsikter och former
that are not one's own.
som inte är ens egna.
There is nothing sacred about
Det finns ingenting
any
heligt
one point of view.
med att ha och hålla
It is
en
still
synpunkt.
only a point of
Det är
view.
fortfarande bara en synpunkt.
No religion is more
Ingen
sacred
religion är mer
than the
helig
other,
än den andra.
nor superior to another.
Eller inte heller
No culture,
än den andra.
no race,
Ingen kultur,
no
ingen
sex,
ras,
no view or no form
inget synsätt eller någon
superior
form är
or more
överlägsen
sacred than the other.
eller mer helig än
Superiority
någon annan.
is a construct of the human
Överlägsenhet
mind,
är en
not a
konstruktion
law
av sinnet i
pronounced
människan.
by God
Inte
or
en
the
lag
universe.
som har kommit fram från
Ekam
Gud
Sat
eller universum.
Vipraha
Ekam
Bahudha
Sat.
Vadanti. There is only one truth,
Det finns bara en
and the
sanning,
wise
men
call it by many
vise
names.
kallar den för många olika
It's
namn.
time
Det är
you
dags
awakened
att
to
du
your true
vaknar
nature
upp till din
of
sanna natur
immense peacefulness.
av en oändlig frid.
It is important
Det är viktigt
that millions
att miljontals
wake up from their
vaknar
unawakened
upp
state
från det
of
ouppvaknade
inner
tillståndet
conflict
utav
and
inre konflikt
animosity
och
and move
omöjlighet
towards
och flytta sig
an
mot
awakened state of
ett
peace,
uppvaknat tillstånd för frid,
because
eftersom
it is our collective
att det är
peace
vår gemensamma frid
that has the power
som har
to
kraften
end division.
att få ett
It
slut.
is our collective peace
Det är vår
that will
gemensamma
prevent
frid
us
som kommer att
from
skydda oss
becoming
från
inhuman
att bli
and
omänskliga
insensitive
och
to
okänsliga
the plight of our fellow human beings,
trots våra
who may look different from us,
goda vilja. De kanske
who may
ser
dress
annorlunda ut
differently
än oss,
from
de
us,
kanske klär sig
who
annorlunda,
may speak a
de
language
kanske pratar ett språk
different from us,
som är annorlunda än
who
vårt.
may live in a
De
land
kanske lever i ett land
different from us,
som är annat än våra,
who may be less or more
kanske är
affluent
mer
than us,
eller mindre
who
flytande
may
än oss.
be a different
De
gender
kanske
from
är
us.
ett annat kön
Every
än oss.
human being
Varje människa
needs to awaken to peace and
behöver
consciousness.
vakna upp till frid i medvetande.
Every human being
Varenda människa
needs to realize
behöver inse
that beyond all the forms,
om alla former,
appearances,
utseenden,
colors of our bodies as
färger på
different races,
kroppen, olika raser,
beyond all religious beliefs,
alla religiösa trosuppfattningar,
beyond all our biological
alla
and
biologiska
emotional
och
inclinations,
känslomässiga skillnader,
we are part
så är vi alla
of
del
one cosmic
av
reality,
en kosmisk
Ekam,
verklighet.
which
Ekam,
means
som
the
betyder
one.
den enda.
And that is the song
Och det är den
with
som
which we begin every day.
vi börjar varje.
If you can bring your heart and
Du kan
soul
föra ditt hjärta och din
into the peace meditation
in
today,
fredsmeditationen idag.
and intent peace for
Hålla
every human being
intentionen för fred till
who
varenda
has been a
människa
victim of
som har
discrimination,
varit ett offer för diskriminering.
and also
Och även
intend an awakening to
hålla
peace
intentionen om ett
in the
uppvaknande
hearts of
till
every perpetrator
hjärtat
of
hos
discrimination.
alla som har utfört
We will
diskriminering.
for sure
Så kommer vi helt säkert
influence the collective human
influera
thought
den
towards
kollektiva
peace
mänskliga tanken
and unity.
i en riktning mot fred och enhet.
In a short while, we will
Alldeles
listen
strax
to a brilliant
ska vi
dialogue between Sri
en
Krishna Ji
briljant dialog mellan
and Golri's
Shri
Gharaman.
och Golvis
We
German.
request you to
Vi
stay
ber er
tuned with
att
us.
stanna kvar med oss.
Namaste.
Namaste.
We are delighted to have amidst
Vi är
us
mycket glada över att
Golri's Gharaman, born in Iran
Gharaman, som är född i
and has made history
som har skapat
as the
historia
first
som den
ever refugee
någonsin
to be sworn in
födda
as a member of parliament
som
in New
fördes
Zealand.
in som en medlem i
He has held governments accountable
hon har hållit
for enforcing
regeringar
human rights.
skyldiga
He has
att
worked
upprätthålla mänskliga
extensively
rättigheter. Hon har
on
jobbat
empowering women
väldigt hårt
and minorities.
för att kraftsätta kvinnor och
He
minoriteter.
has been an important
Hon har
voice
varit en viktig
for
röst
peace in the
för
world.
fred i världen.
He is our honored guest today.
Är vår ärade gäst idag.
He will share thoughts
Hon kommer att dela sina
on
tankar
how to end divisiveness
och få slut på
in the world
uppdelningen i världen
and bring about peace.
och föra in fred.
Welcome, Gharaman.
Välkommen.
Welcome to this most noble gathering of Ekam
Den här
Peace
nobla
meditators.
samlingen av
It is an honor
Ekam-meditatörer.
to have you with us
Ära
today.
att ha dig med oss idag.
Thank you. It's an absolute honor
Så mycket. Det är en
for me
absolut ära
to join you,
för mig
and
också att vara
in
med.
particular
Och speciellt
to take part in a
att
conversation
vara en del av ett
about
samtal
peace
om
and
fred.
the eradication of divisiveness. I don't think there's
Revideringen
anything
av
more important
Jag tror inte det finns
right now that we can do
just nu
together
som vi kan
as a
göra
global
tillsammans,
community
som en
and
global
family,
gemenskap eller familj,
with the challenges
med de
that
utmaningar
are facing us all
som vi faktiskt
on
har
our planet,
på vår
whether
planet
it's
idag.
climate change,
Vare sig
the
det är
COVID
klimatförändring
pandemic,
eller covid,
poverty, inequality.
fattigdomen eller
This
ojämlikhet.
is a conversation that we must
Det
have.
här
So
är
thank
ett
you.
samtal som vi verkligen behöver ha. Så tack så
Thank
mycket.
you.
Tack så mycket.
So today more than 20 million people
Så idag är det mer
from
än 20
all over the
miljoner
world,
människor från hela världen.
several TV channels,
Många
many
tv-kanaler,
online communities,
många onlinegrupper,
thousands of villages in India,
tusentals byar i
and
Indien,
several hundreds of thousands of
flera
students
hundratusentals
from educational
studenter från
institutions
olika
and entire
utbildningar
communities
och hela
listening
grupper
to us
som
and
lyssnar på
meditating with us.
och mediterar tillsammans med oss.
Ekam,
Very humbling.
Väldigt ödmjuk inför det.
Ekam World Peace Festival
Så Ekam
is an extraordinary opportunity
är en
to
extraordinär
meditate and impact the collective thinking
meditera
of
och
humanity
påverka det gemensamma
towards
medvetandet hos
greater harmony
människan
and
mot
a
en större
peaceful
harmoni
coexistence.
och en fredlig
So
samexistens.
once again, thank you for being here
Ännu
today.
en gång,
And
tack
shall
så
we
mycket
move to the
för att ni är här
conversation?
med oss.
Can I ask
Ska
you
vi
the
gå vidare
questions?
till samtalet? Kan jag ställa era frågor?
Differences among people are a
Skillnader
fact,
mellan människor är ett
but
faktum.
divisiveness
Men
is a disease.
splittringen är en sjukdom.
As a philosopher,
Som en
I
filosof
see that this
Ja.
divisiveness
att den här uppdelningen
is a result of
är ett
centuries of
resultat
conditioning
av århundradets
that projects
betingningar.
one idea,
Projicerar en
one
ideal,
ideology,
en ideologi,
one race,
en ras,
one culture,
en kultur,
one gender
ett
as
kön
superior to the
som
other.
är överlägset jämte det andra.
Well,
Nåväl,
this is how I see it.
det här är så som jag ser det.
How would you,
Hur skulle du,
who is a peace activist
som är en fredsaktivist
and a significant leader
och en
of a
betydande
progressive country
ledare
like New Zealand, see it?
i ett progressivt land
What
som
do
Nya
you
Zeeland
see
ser det?
is
Vad
the
ser
reason
du
for divisiveness?
är anledningen till uppdelningen?
I think, first of all, that I absolutely agree with you
Först av allt,
in that
absolut håller med.
divisiveness comes from
Den
inequality
kommer från
between genders,
ojämlikhet,
between
mellan
races,
kön,
between
raser,
ideologies, or
ideologier
religions.
och religion.
But for me, I guess
för
the
mig-
word I would use is injustice.
Ordet jag väljer
Okay.
är
I think one of the really important things
och jag tror det
about
viktiga
understanding
sakerna med att
division
förstå
is also
det
understanding
är också att
the
förstå
very valid feelings of sadness, of anger, that different groups have because injustice
håller på grund av
continues
orättvisa
against them.
som har
So
fortsatt mot.
one of the things that I think has happened
En av
over
de
time
sakerna som jag tror har
is that we haven't listened to each other
är att vi inte har
openly in
lyssnat
that
på
way.
varandra.
We haven't acknowledged injustice.
Vi har inte
And so the
erkänt
division keeps going.
Därför
When one group gets
den här
power,
uppdelningen.
they assert themselves in a way that may be unjust against another,
Oavsett
and the
det är
cycle
för en annan.
continues.
Och på det
So
sättet
my work, I guess, for the United Nations was based in the United Nations criminal courts, where leaders are held to account for things like ethnic violence or religious violence, gender-based violence on a massive scale. And so the idea is, how do we stop the cycle of conflict? You know, how do we hold people to account in a way where justice can be seen to be done, and then society can move forward? So it's one of those things that for me comes down to justice and people feeling heard, so that change can happen and go forward. And we haven't had enough of that, unfortunately.
So justice has two sides to it, right? One is people who are doing the unjust are brought to, are accountable, and injustice itself should not exist. So
that's right. That's a very good way of putting it. So it's not just about holding people to account. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's historic, and those people aren't actually even there. But we still have to actively address injustice. We have to actively lift women, for example, to a place of equal rights with men or with other genders. We have to lift religions and races that have been historically treated unjustly, so that we all have the same opportunities and dignity. That's justice.
Got it. And you feel injustice is existing because of, you think the leaders are not, they have to be more compassionate, or what is lacking?
Exactly what you've said. There's historic inequality that has happened, but the division continues because we haven't actively addressed the realities of what that means. So for example, we've had a history of men being seen to be superior to women. That's true, but we have to actively address that. Women have to be actively brought into decision making. Our justice system has to treat women as equals. Our healthcare system has to focus on women's issues. There are very practical ways that we can actually address these historic inequalities.
So what I'm listening is, it's actually possible and it's easy, but someone has to do it.
We have to do it, yeah.
Wonderful.
We can't say
it. Lovely. So now I also see the disease of divisiveness everywhere. You know, I see it in families, in schools, as you said, in religious places, in organizations, even on streets as you walk around, even talk to ordinary people, there is an immediate feel of this division amongst you and me, among well-to-do, among not well-to-do. And this divisiveness breeds a very destructive culture of mistrust. You know, there is mistrust, insecurity, and a helpless rage in the victims, and a mindless superiority, heartlessness and cruelty in the perpetrators. So it is like a damaged human being damaging others, and this damage, sadly, I see continues in many generations. We can actually see that. So what do you see is the large-scale impact of division on individuals and the fabric of society itself?
Yeah, again, it's a very useful perspective that you bring in terms of a damaged person harming others, but also the fact that both sides are experiencing harm. Obviously, one side may be more than others, because if you are the persecuted party in an unequal relationship, that's worse, but it's harming us all. And so it's in our best interest as a society, whether we're the historically superior group or the historically inferior group that has been harmed. On a massive scale, we see around the world democracy being undermined as people don't trust information, don't trust their institutions, that they haven't been served by.
som de inte har
So
fått.
the anger and the mistrust might be real, but it's harming all of us in terms of undermining democracy.
Men den skadar
We
oss
see it
alla.
in undermining the COVID-19 response
Så
in
också hur
certain
det
places.
underminerar covid-19.
Where again, the healthcare institutions that haven't served, for example, indigenous people, migrants of color, there's a distrust and we can't all access what we need in order to overcome the pandemic. And we know that we can't face a challenge like a pandemic unless all of us are okay, all of us are taken care of. So we do see it on a massive scale, but again, it's about coming together whether we're in a position of power or in a position where we've experienced indignity and listening and acknowledging the harm. So the fabric of society is really at stake.
Nätet i samhället är verkligen på spel.
So you think listening can help a lot, right? Listening is not happening.
Listening is not happening, but again, it becomes a thing where you have to listen to what is missing and what people are experiencing and where their anger is coming from, and then fix it. So again, you know, making healthcare resource available to a group that has previously been cut off, previously been treated with indignity, is the next step, including people in education, respect for others' culture. All of those things have to be seen to be done. And sometimes that means they need to be resourced. So, you know, human rights are about political and civil rights, but they're also about economic, social, and cultural rights. And we can't have one group without the other. We absolutely can't have democracy unless we have fair access to education. And we can't say that we're educating anybody if the people we're educating are hungry or don't have adequate housing. So these rights cannot be divided.
Very true. So everything has to work in harmony and everything has to be successful. One cannot be unsuccessful and something else can't be successful.
We have to be committed to substantive equality. And then when we see that cultural equality and closeness.
I agree with you completely. And if this happens more and more, I think definitely this fear and anger will be reduced and there'll be more cooperation and equality. Yes. Wonderful. So let me now ask you the final question for the day. What steps do you think, you have covered a bit, but it will be nice if you can go over it again. What steps do you think should heads of states take to dissolve divisiveness in any nation?
Yes, so what I've touched on already is about addressing injustice in a real and substantive way through policies that include resource to lift groups that have historically experienced inequality. But I think the very first step in figuring out what equality looks like for those groups is including them in the decision-making process. So we can't really have a parliamenary democracy, for example, in New Zealand or whatever system other governments might have. We can't have a decision that's strong and serves the interests of those who have experienced inequality if they are not included in the decision. We have to make sure we have women, we have religious minorities, we have indigenous peoples, we have disabilities communities and the rainbow community involved in decisions and policy that affects them. That's the first step to equality and to listening to each other. And then we go from there.
Lovely. So every group who is oppressed or who is a minority should have a representation, a strong representation.
That's when our decision making will be stronger, because we're all experiencing education and health and the justice system, or even roads and houses within our own needs. You know, women coming into the healthcare system do have different needs than men. A disabled person coming into the housing policy has a different experience, and so we need to hear from everybody as best we can, and that commitment to hearing from everybody is the first step.
So can I ask you one more question?
Please.
Okay, it'll be a little different. So yes, I agree with everything that you have just said. And all the solutions are a must. It's an action-oriented solution.
Det måste och
People have to do this.
handla.
But we see constantly that people are not doing this.
Vi ser hela tiden att människor inte gör det här.
Something happens and they don't do this.
Något händer
And
men gör
divisiveness continues. So what do you think is the real problem? Do you think
Är det riktiga problem?
people in position and people who can help others, that they should have this real beautiful inner state, something inside must happen to them so that this can actually translate into action and the desired results can be found?
I certainly think that if we lived in a world where our leaders, as well as others, whether it's teachers or doctors or everybody who collectively makes up our community, had time and space to reflect and to heal and to think outside of our immediate, it certainly would strengthen us in terms of governance and as human beings.
Thank you so much. That's very important, coming from you and people listening to your message. It's very, very important because I think that seriousness to address the inner world is lost somewhere. So if we can address that, thank you so much for that insight. So thank you, Gaherman, for your brilliant and passionate message to everybody today. Our heartfelt wishes to you to achieve this much necessary mission of ending division and discrimination in the society. Please join us in our peace meditation. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
We will move into peace meditation now.
Nu ska vi gå in i fredsmeditationen.
So that our consciousness
så att vårt medvetande
and humanity's consciousness
mänsklighetens medvetande
can open to the oneness of human
till enheten för den mänskliga existensen.
Let us now connect
Låt oss nu förbinda oss
Ekam
med Ekam
and the power of the universal intelligence
den universella
that flows in
intelligensen
Ekam.
som flödar genom Ekam.
As you see Ekam
Medan du ser på Ekam
and listen to the Ekam mantra,
lyssnar på Ekam-mantrat
you are connecting to its
förbinder
power.
du dig med dess kraft.
Ekam is more
Ekam
than a physical
är
structure.
mer än en fysisk
It
byggnad.
is a divine force field.
Det är ett gudomligt kraftfält.
Wherever you are in the world,
Var du än befinner dig i världen
you can connect with the
kan
mystic power
du
of
finna dig
Ekam.
med den mystiska kraften hos Ekam.
You will experience
Kommer att
the
uppleva
immense presence
den
of
oändliga
the
närvaron
universal intelligence
den universella
or
intelligensen
the divine
eller det gudomliga.
in any form or way
Alla former
that
och alla
is close
sätt
to your heart.
som finns nära ditt hjärta.
Now,
Nu,
ask the universal intelligence
den universella intelligensen
to fill your heart
fylla ditt hjärta
with its divine
med
presence.
sin gudomliga närvaro.
Please close your eyes.
Var snäll och stäng ögonen.
Now place both your palms
Sätt nu båda händerna
upon your heart center.
på hjärtats center.
Let us connect
Låt oss
with
förbinda
today's peace
med
intention
dagens fredsintention.
to become instruments for
Bli
peace
instrument för fred.
and dissolve
Lösa
racial, religious,
religiös,
gender-based, and
könsbaserad
every other form of
alla andra
discrimination
formers diskriminering
and nurture peace
Det är
between
näring
all humanity.
och fred för hela mänskligheten.
Now reflect on any aspect of your life
Över något område i ditt liv
where there is conflict right
där det
now.
finns konflikt just nu.
Maybe a disagreement in the family
Kanske är någonting som ni inte
or
håller med
organization
i eller i organisationen.
that has escalated
Som har
into division
eskalerat
and separation between the members.
separation och splittring mellan
Connect
medlemmar.
with this conflicting situation
Kom i kontakt med
and
den
feel
här
the disturbance
situationen.
within you.
Se den här störningen som finns inne i dig.
Ask the universal intelligence
Den universella intelligensen
to dissolve the disturbance
att lösa upp störning
about the situation
kring den här situationen
within your consciousness.
inne i ditt medvetande.
This disturbance
Den här störningen
manifests as
manifesterar sig
judgment on the other,
som ett dömande av den
blaming,
beskyddande,
anger,
en ilska,
resentment,
en avskyddhet,
dislike and hate.
ett ogillande
May
och hat
these destructive states
och dessa destruktiva
that cause division between
som
people
skapar splittring mellan
be
människor
dissolved within you.
lösas upp inombords.
Relax your hands.
Slappna av i händerna.
Ask the universal intelligence
Be den universella intelligensen.
to open your heart
Öppna ditt hjärta
to an experience
till en
of forgiveness
upplevelse utav förlåtelse.
and heal your heart
Och läka ditt hjärta.
if you have experienced
Har
discrimination
upplevt diskriminering.
and prejudice
Orätt
because of your religion, race,
på grund av din religion,
caste,
din ras
or your
din
sexual
kast
orientation.
eller din sexuella läggning.
Think of the people
Tänk på de människor
who hurt you
som sårat dig.
and say,
Säg,
I forgive you
jag förlåter dig
for the pain you caused
för
me.
den smärtan du orsakat mig.
Now think of those people
Tänk nu på de människor
whom you may have hurt
som du kanske sårat
because of your inner disturbance
på grund av din inre störning.
and say,
Och säg,
forgive me for the
förlåt
hurt
mig för den
I have caused you.
skada jag sårat, den skada jag orsakat dig.
Feel your body,
Känn din kropp,
your heart,
ditt hjärta
and your entire being
och hela ditt väsen.
become filled
Hur det
with the
fylls
radiance of peace,
av den strålande
a
frid
golden light
och hur ett gyllene
that
ljus
floods your entire being.
flödar genom hela ditt väsen.
Feel your peace energies
Känn dina fredsenergier
flow like streaming radiance
flöda som strålande
to all those
strålar
people
till alla de
who
människor
have experienced pain
som har upplevt
and
smärta
destruction
och
caused by
förstörelse
discrimination in their lives.
orsakad av att de diskriminerats i sitt liv.
Feel your peace energies
Känn dina fredsenergier
flow to those
flöda till
who
dem
are perpetrating division and
som
violence in the world.
utför
Bless them
uppdelning och våld i världen.
that they too become free of their inner
Välsigna dem.
violence
Att de också blir
and
fria
become
från
peaceful.
sitt inre våld, blir fridfulla.
Now see that
Se nu
the earth is peaceful.
hur planeten,
All living
är
beings on earth
hur alla
are peaceful.
levande varelser på jorden är i frid.
Ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. Beyond all our surface differences,
Bortom alla våra ytliga
we are
skillnader
part of one
är vi
cosmic
alla
soul.
en del av en kosmisk själ.
Beyond all our surface differences,
Bortom alla våra ytliga
we are
skillnader
part of one cosmic soul.
är vi alla del av en kosmisk.
Beyond all our surface differences,
Bortom alla våra ytliga
we are
skillnader
part of one cosmic
alla
soul.
del av en kosmisk själ.
Open your eyes
Öppna ögonen,
and look at the peace flame.
titta på fredsflamman.
Holding your gaze upon the peace flame,
Rikta blicken på
let
fredsflamman.
us take an oath.
Låt oss ta en ed.
Repeat this to yourself.
Upprepa det här för dig själv.
I will rise above differences
Ska resa mig över
and
skillnader.
extend my respect
Ge mig
and
respekt
friendship to all
och
people.
vänskap till alla människor.
I will rise above differences
Ska resa mig över
and
skillnader.
extend my respect
Ge mig respekt
and friendship to
och
all
vänskap
people.
till alla människor.
I will rise above differences
resa mig över skillnader.
and extend my respect
Ge mig respekt
and friendship to all
vänskap
people.
till alla människor.
सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोका समस्ता sukhino bhavantu. May all the people of the world
Alla människor i världen
live joyfully.
leva i glädje.
May all sentient beings
Alla heliga varelser
live joyfully.
leva glada i glädje.
Let there be peace in our hearts,
Fred
peace in our families, and peace in the world.
i världen.
Tomorrow,
Imorgon
we will move on to the third peace intention
blir det fredliga
of
intentioner.
healing Mother Earth.
Läka Moder Jord.
By participating in the peace meditations
Fredsmeditation
and dedicating your time and energy
och energi
to nurturing peace
att ge
within
näring till fred
and in the global consciousness,
i det globala medvetandet.
you are fulfilling your greater dharma,
Din större, högre dharma.
the noble responsibility
Det nobla ansvar
which will earn you immense good karma.
ger dig enormt god kraft.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Our heartfelt appreciation to every one of you
Vår
for being
hjärtliga
with us today.
uppskattning till er alla som var med oss
Peace
här.
is our collective vision.
Fred är våran gemensamma
Tomorrow
vision.
we will be
Imorgon
joined
så
by a
kommer vi
special
att
guest,
få äran till att
Satya
en
Tripathi.
speciell gäst som heter
Satyaji has
Satya
worked with the
S.
United Nations for
Tripathi.
several decades
Han har jobbat i flera
and is currently the Secretary General of Global Alliance for a Sustainable
generalsekreterare
Planet.
för den globala alliansen för en
He is
hållbar
someone
planet.
with a great passion for
Han
saving
är
the earth,
en som har en stor
and
passion att
his
rädda
work
jorden
directly addresses
och hans
the climate change crisis.
adresserar direkt den planetära klimatkrisen.
If you are someone
Om du är
deeply touched and impacted by the experience you had today,
berörd utav
we
upplevelsen
urge you to take it
så
forward
uppmanar vi dig
by
att
visiting
sprida den,
PK Consciousness
att
on social
fortsätta
media.
och komma in på PK Conscious.
Here you have over 100 wisdom
Här
videos
finns det flera
on
hundratals
various topics
videor
like health,
om olika
wealth creation,
hälsa,
love
hur
and
man skapar
family,
rikedom, hur man får kärlek
discovering
i sin
your
familj,
soulmate,
hur man hittar sin
career excellence,
soulmate,
conscious achievement,
hur man får
and connecting
excellens,
with the universal
hur man får en
intelligence.
medveten prestation.
There are several
Man
meditations and
sig
wisdom
med den
videos
universella
rendered
intelligensen.
by Sri Pritaji and Sri
Massor utav
Krishnaji.
videor från Sri Pritaji och
Subscribe to PK Consciousness
skriv
on
upp dig som
YouTube,
prenumerant på PK
follow PK
Consciousness på
Consciousness
YouTube och
on
följ
Facebook
sidan på
and
Facebook
Instagram.
och Instagram.
Thank you very much
Hemskt
for
mycket
being here with us
för
today
att du var med oss
once
här idag.
again. And we will meet each other tomorrow
Vi kommer träffas igen
at the
imorgon
Ekam World
på
Peace
Ekam
Festival.
världsfredsfestival.
Tomorrow will be the grand
Tomorrow
culmination
kommer vara den
of
storslagna
the
kulmineringen utav festivalen.
Namaste.
Namaste.
And I feel the love in the air, dancing today. There is nothing to say, I'm on my way. Say